Hello, I'm Roger Mendham. I'm from Bookham Camera Club, and I've been a judge for the Photographic Association for the past 4 years. This is the third time I've been to Photocraft here at Wallington, and I've had a really good first half of an evening. Judging photographs is quite an interesting experience because there are several aspects you have to look at. I always look initially at the picture and get a first impression. I ask myself, what does the photographer want me to look at? Because one of the keys to a good photograph is to simplify it down. Don't overcomplicate it, and make sure that what you consider to be the most important part of the photograph is quite clear, and that it stands out in the photograph, and there are not other distractions in the way that take your eye away from it. So I look at a photograph and I gain an initial impression on it. Then, as a judge, I look at the technical aspects of the image. Has the camera been set up properly? Have they got the focal point right? Have they got the depth of field right? Is the exposure right? Have they got the color balance right? I also look at I always call it the construction. People call it composition. The construction of the image. Have they got the important part in the right place of the image? Is there enough room around a subject for it to breathe? For example, if it's the head of a wild animal, if it gets cropped in too tight, that kind of constrains it. You need space in it. If you've got for example, if it's a duck on water, you don't want it butting its beak up against the side of the mount. So has it been put together properly? And then I'll look at various technical aspects about how the image has been finished off, finalized, prepared, and presented for judging. So it's quite a complex process. There are artistic elements, there are technical elements, and it's a combination of those that will lead a judge through to a score. And I always try in the comments that I make to advise the photographer on where I think that there is scope for improvement, how I think they could make what's already a good image an even better image. My style of photography, I photograph what I call fragments. Now, fragments means I tend to find elements of larger objects that I take photographs of. I photograph a lot of cars. I've had a theme where I've been photographing actually supercars, Ferraris, Maseratis, Lamborghinis, but I never take a photograph of a whole car. I will look at an element of it. I really like color, shape, tone, texture. I'll look at how parts of the bodywork of a car sweep, and how the shut lines, where the doors come or where the bonnet closes down, gives you lines across sometimes very vibrant colors, and I'll pick out elements of that to take photographs. I also do quite a lot of photograph inside churches. I like photographing inside churches because, well, you're not weather dependent. Also, it's not like trying to photograph a bird in flight. It's not trying to catch something that's moving. And also it goes back into I like elements of color and texture. And inside churches, particularly old churches, you can find some fabulous colors and textures. For example, if you see light streaming through a stained glass window, my recommendation is don't photograph the stained glass window. Photograph where the colored light is playing on, for example, an old stone pillar inside a church. That's where you'll see the beauty of light coming through a stained glass window. If I could only take one photograph with me to a desert island, which would it be? It is a black and white photograph taken 80 years ago by a wonderful American photographer called Dorothea Lange. The photograph is called Migrant Mother, and it was taken at the depth of the Depression, and it just shows a mother in very difficult circumstances, two children looking back over her shoulder. You can't see their faces. And if you want to see a fabulous photograph that shows depth of emotion and everything else, have a look it up on Google, Migrant Mother by Dorothea Lange. And when you look at it, look at the bottom right-hand corner of the image, because you can see where the 1930s equivalent of Photoshop has been applied. Because in the bottom left-hand corner, You can see where her hand and her thumb were leaning against a tent post, and it's been faded out, but you can still see the detail today. That's my favourite image of all time.